Hello and welcome back. Today we are doing a video playthrough of Kingdom 2 Shadowan for the CDI. That has one big reason. The CDI version seems to be slightly different from the PC and DVD versions, so I want to show the differences between them and how to play through this one, because there's especially one point in the game where I got stuck. And I asked online, I joined a CDI Discord server, if anyone else had similar problems, and at least one person said, yes, if you ever solve this problem, please tell me. I got stuck at the exact same point and couldn't continue any further. We are filming the screen once again because my CDI only supports composite and I cannot record composite right now, or at least not in a decent quality. And yeah, I don't have the RGB supported CDIs.
In the times of old, there was a land of 5 kingdoms, justly ruled by the Argent Kings. With their greatest magic, they created an amulet made of 5 powerful relics joined together. They entrusted it to Mobus, the wisest wizard in the land. But Mobus had a jealous brother named Torlock the Twisted. He betrayed the Argent Kings, hunting them down to the last. His dark armies then overran the kingdoms. Mobus shattered the amulet into its 5 pieces to keep it out of Torlock's reach. Mobus then hid the pieces, one to a kingdom. Many years later, a young man named Latham Candor set out to rejoin the amulet. He searched for the relics with the help of his mentor, the wizard Daylon. In the kingdom of Wygard, inside the legendary Castle of Crystal, Latham found the first relic, the Black Mace. In the kingdom of Iskar, he explored a vast and tangled hedge maze until he reached its center and discovered the next relic, the Orb of Mobus. And finally, in the kingdom of Isles, he used his guile to overcome the treacherous elements and acquire the hunting horn. On his dangerous quest, Latham found other items of magic and power, including the blood sword of the Argent Kings, the crystal of Kaldar, and the pentacle coins. With these magical items, Latham defeated Drake's Blood the Wicked and reclaimed the palace of Iskar for the true ruler, Princess Grace Delight. Now, Latham Candor prepares to continue his search to find the remaining 2 relics, the Dagger of Arn and the Crown of Malric. Once Latham has all 5 relics, he will be able to reassemble the amulet and defeat the wizard Torlock.
Alright, that was kind of a recap of the first game. For those who don't know, the first game is Kingdom, The Far Reaches. This is the 3DO version, the version I played. I kind of want to get my hands on the CDI version now that I've played the sequel on CDI, just to have the collection complete. On the main menu here we can see an overview of all the items we can get in the game. So you can have the names. During gameplay you cannot look up the names of the things you have. So if you want to know that these are the pentacle coins, then you have to look over here on the title screen. And over here is the map of the game. So over here, this is the map of the entire game. The first part, Kingdom the Far Reaches, and the second one, Shadowan. So in the first game we started over here, we made our way through the desert of Illis, and landed in Iskar at the end. And this is the Palace of Iskar, where our new game starts. You see there's a big chasm in the middle, and in this game we will go into the final two kingdoms, the Far Reaches, and up here Shadowan. So that's the goal for today, checking all of that out, and we are starting right here at the Palace of Iskar. That's where we defeated Drake's Blood the Wicked and freed the queen or princess of the kingdom.
I will do everything in my power to protect the kingdom's grace.
Alright, now we need to somehow go across the chasm, so we need to go over here into the next room.
An ancient tapestry. Maybe it's magical.
And we need to go through the ancient tapestry. In this room, it's just the bedroom of the princess, and she will tell us, oh no, go through the tapestry. So for this we need the scroll of seeing to see the true magic and the path behind the tapestry.
Oh, Alcatesh, the lost city.
Yes, Alcatesh, the lost city, doesn't really make sense. It's not really a lost city because it's right there, but because I think it's like over the chasm and hard to reach, that it's lost to the kingdom and taken over by Torlok, the evil magician we want to defeat in this game. So the goal is to get the 5 relics together. The first game, Kingdom of the Far Reaches, which came out as Thayer's Quest in the 80s at the first 3, and this one has the final 2.
Join the army, defending Alcatesh, or are you going to hide in the hills with the women and the children?
This old man tells us that we should really join the army, and we will do that later. We don't really have the time for that right now. So pressing the 2 button opens the map, and we can choose where to go, and pressing the 1 button chooses whatever we click on. So what we need to do is go down here to the south gate.
Seems like there's no one left in the city.
Going into the east gate just shows us a sign that basically tells us to join the army. Going west kills us because Torlok has a trap there. And going north is into the direction of Shadowan, so we are going to war over there. And we are not quite ready for that. Now, I would recommend saving frequently, because every time you die in this game, you can die with just 1 incorrect press of the button, and you will have quite a few problems. So let's go into Trickster's Gully.
Follow the signs at mile end.
Okay, now this is quite an interesting part of the game, because this sign can have multiple inscriptions and tell you different things. Now it says follow the sign. That means when we go practically, I think over here, this is where the signs are. Oh no. Oh, alright. We triggered the first trap. That's quite fantastic.
Get to the Black Heath in time, and the dragon will sleep for another year.
Alright, so now he triggers a dragon to kill us in either it's a set amount of screen transitions or a set amount of, what would we call it, like a time limit. I'm not sure which one the game uses to trigger the events, so I'm not sure. I just know that we need to go to, let's see. Yes, let's go to the hanging tree where my favorite character resides.
What is this place?
A hanging tree, though I hang few enough these days. With no laws to keep, there's no one to hang for breaking them. If this gets worse, I'll have to start hanging innocent people.
Now this man is really dedicated to his job. So we need to get to the Black Heath, which is over here. And if we don't make it in time, a dragon will come and kill us as soon as that dragon event is triggered. So
In the Black Heath, the magic of the Argent Kings is yet strong and can heal you. Torlod's dragon sleeps another year.
Daylon, wait. Daylon,
So I had to make a quick detour from where I actually wanted to go, but that's fine. I'll tell you the sign thing later on. We need to go to the river bank really quickly to trigger something else.
My bumbling apprentice Jared, potion of flying, stolen by the innkeeper.
Jared, a potion of flying. Daylon,
The potion of flying, stolen by the innkeeper. Never click on the boat, you will die, you will fall down a waterfall, and that's not nice. So here you can choose the hanging tree is basically a safe spot. There's the cool little hanging man. Now, the woodcutter's hut is important later on, but we need to avoid it for right now because there's a curse on it. And if we stay on this screen for too long, we will die. So let's go into the dark forest before it's too late.
Need a pan mended? A pot repaired?
no thanks. I'm not traveling with much.
Oh, well, in these parts, no one does it. Oh, watch out for the woodcutter, son. I've heard tell it's a trap set by Torlock.
Now this is a really interesting one. You see the art style changes quite a bit from the first game to the next one. And this guy, this pot salesman that just randomly appears, looks suspiciously like the character model of Lathan from the first game. Because there was so much time in the middle, they had to change lots of it. Yeah, we have the Northman camp. Now let's go where we actually wanted to go.
Norseman, I can barely understand them. But I think they're planning to join an army near High Pass.
Yeah, joining an army near High Pass. That's what we will be doing later on as well. So let's go over here. We go to the Rocky Hills. If we stay on the Northman camp too long, they will attack us and kill us.
Let me go.
I'll start the fire tomorrow and rabbit tonight.
Alright, these trolls are very greedy, so using the coins will get rid of them.
I'd better go before they remember they're hungry.
So now they will never attack us again. Another option would be to use the mace, because then we can flee, but then every time we go onto this screen, we will get attacked again and have to go through all of it. It's not a big hassle, but it's a bit annoying. So let's go to the foothills to get attacked again. Now more Norsemen are trying to attack us. Now we need to be quick because I did not think this through. We need to go over here and choose the sword. Because the inventory is pretty limited in like visual space.
They won't be back for a while.
I would always recommend already having the item you need on screen before you enter the next screen where you may need it. Now we will move over here to Dallin's portal, because like the first game, he will provide us with different magic scrolls that we need to get through the game.
Lathan, this is the only place in the far reaches and Shadowan where I can physically help you. These are inscribed with spells of release. They undo traps and separate that which should not be bound together.
The spell of release. Yeah, separate what should not be bound together.
Scrolls.
That's an interesting one because I don't think you ever do that in the game. It's just getting out of traps. Now what we need next, we can choose between these different things. It doesn't really matter which one we choose because we need all of them to progress anyway.
Be careful, apprentice.
So let's take the scroll of understanding first. So let's do a quick save. Just in case something happens. Nothing should happen over the next part, but better safe than sorry.
Lathan, the plague magician, fears the crystal of Kaldar. Use it against him.
Yes, we get a little projected image of the screen, the queen or the princess. Yeah, she gives us some tips. Every time we go through here, she has one of two different answers to give.
Rooms like these before. That was back in
One is that use the crystal on the Plague Magician, and the other one is that the hunting horn is effective against demons. So both of these pieces of information are important later on. Here are the runes. We cannot read them. We need the Scroll of Understanding for that later on. But where we want to go is the inn right now. Oh, and the signs trigger here. So it's kind of random where what triggers. Like the dragon event starts on a random screen every time. These signs are on a random screen every time where you choose between where you want to go and where you can go. It's all possible without this, but this makes it a bit easier to go through. When we went into the Trickster's Gully earlier, he said, follow the signs. Now last time, my last playthrough said, oh, the signs are flipped. So in order to go to the inn, I needed to click on, I think, the Pinewood one. And if I wanted to go to the Pinewood, I needed to click onto the inn sign. So they are flipped, and you have to really be careful what you're doing in order to not get lost in this. So let's go to the inn this time.
What is this place?
The last inn, and if you're wise, you'll stay away. Only assassins, ruffians, and scum drifted here.
Yes, so we could have gone to that like old man in the city who would have told us to go to the inn if we wanted to, but we don't need that to trigger this event. Yeah, so let's go right in. By the way, the whole sign flipping thing wasn't really, as far as I know, in the PC or DVD version, so that seems to be an exclusive feature to the CDI.
Tell us a secret you know, old man.
I know you look and smell like a baboon, but that's no secret. Thanks, I needed that.
That dialogue makes no sense. Thanks, I needed that? You can reload the screen a couple of times to get a few funny answers from him.
Thanks, wizard. You got me out of a tight spot. Come back sometime and I'll help you in return.
If you go in here without having the Scroll of Release, you can use the sword to get out.
I'd leave here if I were you.
Well, you're not me, so you can keep advice like that to yourself.
Another trademark Lathan snarky comment. So let's go back in and talk to him.
Welcome back, wizard. Listen, that sword you got is good for cutting flesh. But if you want to cut through iron, you need the Dagger of Iron.
The Dagger of Iron can cut through iron. That's nice. So we get the menu screen to get out of here. Now you remember, Dallin told us that his apprentice had a potion of flying stolen by the innkeeper. This nice guy right here. So let's see if we can find it in the back room. Oh, mysterious glowing barrel. Let's click on that.
This potion of flying was stolen from my apprentice Jared. You may take it, Lathan.
Alright, now let's quickly go out of here before we get caught and lose our life. So back into the yard.
I'd leave here if I were you.
Well, you're not me, so you can keep advice like that to yourself.
Alright, our next scrolls should be finished now, so we will move over to Darren's castle once again. And that's practically it.
I'm glad to see you.
Beware the innkeeper, Lathan. He steals from his customers and other unwary travelers.
Now all we really need to do before we join the army right now is get the scrolls. We can get them later on, but I like to have them on hand in order to solve a few later puzzles right away. But you could just go through the game and just return over here over and over, but we are not going to do that.
Lathan, you can use the hunting horn to destroy demons if they come near you.
Yes, she told us about the hunting horn now, so if we ever encounter a demon, We will do that, so let's go over to the portal, and our scrolls should be done.
I am proud of you, Lathan. You have resourcefully overcome difficulties I had never foreseen. And you will overcome more with these spells of understanding. Long forgotten alphabets and strange tongues will be made clear to you.
The scrolls of understanding. That means we can now understand the runes.
Scrolls should I work on next?
We want the scroll, well, we need both at the same time, more or less, so let's do the scroll of traveling right now.
Take care, Lathan.
For some reason, choosing them doesn't always work, so sometimes I clicked on one and got another one, so there must be some aspect of randomness on this one as well. Sadly, no option to skip the video sequences we've already seen.
Use it against me.
Like these princess scenes don't add anything. Like she's not telling us anything new, it just plays over and over again. So let's go to the Rocky Hills.
I've seen runes like these before. That was back in Wygard.
Alright, so let's use the Scroll of Understanding.
To find the Moonstone Amulet, you must see the true nature of the swans.
Alright, I think that's the only real use of the Scroll of Understanding. Another option is to go to the Norseman's camp. Actually, let's do that. Actually, let me save before I do that. Maybe I screwed up, maybe not. Because you remember they talked in a strange tongue last time. And with this scroll we can understand them, but it's not necessary.
Norsemen won't go. I can barely understand them. But I think they're planning to join an army near High Pass.
Alright, let's understand them properly.
Remember, use swords against spears.
Use swords against spears. That's important later on, but you can easily find that out yourself. So every time an enemy has a spear in his hand, we should use the sword to defeat him.
Sometimes I think I'm going in circles.
Yes. You can see I love this screen, like he's so off model in this one. Overall, the animation quality in this one is a huge step back from part 1. Like I like the Saturday morning cartoon style of this one, but like the Dragon Slayer 80s or 70s animation style is a lot more like higher quality in the first one, definitely. Even though the picture quality in this one is much better. So let's see if the scrolls are done. Yes, but some of these screens are really off model.
Completed your scrolls yet, Lathan. Continue your quest.
Scrolls are not done yet. Again, I don't know what the game uses to measure time, if it's actually minutes or screen transitions. I would simply assume it's screen transitions because it would be easier to implement, I think.
Use it against me.
Even though really the the game has quite a few timed events, so where it's down to time and not screen transitions. So maybe it really is time. So let's need to put down my cup of tea here. Want to take a sip. Didn't work out. Yeah, let's just walk around a little bit. As soon as we have the next scrolls, we can continue on a little bit.
Follow the signs at Mile End.
But we need the scroll of traveling right now to move on. The scroll of seeing we can do without for a little bit.
What now, Daylon?
The relics can only be assembled in the Tower of Mobus. Find the relics and join them there.
Alright, they can only assembled in the tower. So we need all the relics and then move over there. So let's go back to the portal, and as soon as we have the scrolls of traveling, we can move on.
I think I'm going in circles.
Overall, I really like this game. Compared to the first one, it's definitely a small step back in complexity and animation, but the game has less randomness to it. In the first game, like there are a few places in the game where you go through and randomly it's an instant kill, and you have no control over it. So in this game there isn't anything like that. You have control over everything, and don't have to deal with instant death
You have done well so
more
far. Here
than the
are
first game.
scrolls with spells of seeing. They reveal illusions and show the true nature of things.
Okay, now that is a problem. As I told you, there seems to be a little bit of randomness in this one.
These are the scrolls of
Like
your
the next one are the scroll of traveling. Like I don't think you can choose the scrolls. It's given to you maybe in a set order, but you saw me clicking on the scroll of traveling, and that is a problem now. So we need to move on. So what we are going to do now is just join the army, like defeat the plague magician in the war, and then return, because just walking around aimlessly doesn't really make that much sense. Because we need the scroll of traveling to continue in Shadowan, because as soon as we go to war, and of course we win the war, we are the hero, we go to Shadowan, and there we need 2 scrolls of traveling, which doesn't seem to be the case in the PC and DVD version. There you only need 1 scroll of traveling. But either I'm doing something wrong or the CDI version requires 2. All right, now this may happen every now and then. The game just isn't read properly by my CDI. And I don't know when I last saved. So let's restart the console. Remind me to save a lot more often. It's not that it's too dirty. I mean, the CDI seems to be very picky when it comes to disk cleanliness. And either it's something on the Trickster's Golly, like where that is saved, because it seems to be crashing there every time. So there may be a scratch in that area that's kind of more picky than usual. So who knows? Maybe I need to get the disk resurfaced or do something about that. But now I know that the Trickster's Golly is probably the problem for this one. Now, I'm not sure when we last saved, so I don't want you to like watch all of it again, but if that's the case, so let's go to restore and load the last save. All right, here we are.
To find the Moonstone Amulet, you must see the true nature of the swans.
Okay, then I will pause the recording here right now, because you don't need to see me get all the scrolls again. Actually, what we are going to do is I'll just walk around until I have all 4 scrolls and redo what we already did, and then I see you as soon as I have all the scrolls and we can move on. Okay, we are back. I tried to solve a puzzle. I wanted to see how many screen transitions it takes to get the scrolls, or if it takes screen transitions. And my idea is that it takes 10 screen transitions to make a pair of scrolls. Now, if my calculations are correct, if we click on this now, the scrolls should be ready. So let's see if my theory works out.
I have not completed your scrolls yet.
Apparently not. So we're still on our way to get the scrolls of traveling. Sorry, I wanted to make this quick and get my live reaction to my theory, if it works out. But I had exactly 10 screen transitions now, so maybe it is based on time after all, so it's not screen transitions. I'm sorry. I wanted to solve that puzzle for us all, to save us some stress in the future, but it sadly did not work out.
I've seen runes like these before. That was back in Nygar.
The runes again, okay. But it shouldn't take too much longer, so if we make our way back to the portal, we should have them in our inventory afterwards.
Lathan, you can use the hunting horn to destroy demons if they come near you.
Alright, so if we go to the portal now, it should all work. There they are.
Not give up hope, apprentice. You have already made great progress. These traveling spells will help you progress even further. With them, you can go anywhere instantly. but using them can fatigue you.
Now, using them can fatigue you.
Take care, Nathan.
That's an interesting one. Yes, this game has a health system, which is very obvious in all the other versions of the game, because there are like 3 roses and like you have 3 lives before you get kicked back to the main menu. In this game, we have a save feature, which I'm not sure if it's in the PC version exactly, but every time we die, we get just kicked back to the main menu and we can load our save. In this game, there are no roses, so there are no obvious ways of seeing your life. Actually, if these scrolls on the end of the menu are red, you have taken damage. And with damage, you cannot do certain things in the game. That's the part where I was stuck in. I mentioned that earlier. And where other people on the CDI Discord server also were stuck in. So if you get stuck and this scroll over here is red, which in this game, like in this version of the game, can only happen, as far as I know. I don't think you can get hurt any other way. Maybe you can. By using the scroll of traveling. So that is the only way to get hurt. Maybe by the daggers when you fight the Plague Magician, we will check that one. But yeah, and when you're hurt, you cannot use the travel spells, so you have to get healed. Remember in the Black Heath, they told us that we can heal ourselves there, which didn't really make sense to me, because unlike the first one on 3DO, in this game you just get kicked to the main menu after you die. So it didn't really make sense to me to get healed, because there didn't seem to be any health in the game. However, the only way I found that out is by reading the damn manual. Like, this is not a good manual. It tells you a bit about the story and like the very basics of, let's save here before the game crashes again. So let's not go over the Trickster's Gully, let's go to the Last Inn instead. Yeah, so it's a very bad manual. It just has a few paragraphs on how it works, and like in very, very tiny print, it tells you, oh, and when you take damage, the edges of the scrolls will be red. So, we need to go to the inn first before we can continue. So that was the only way I figured that out, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe I was damaged, and I got killed at that one part because of it, and it turned out that that seems to be the case. At least I hope so, otherwise we cannot finish this playthrough if that theory does not turn out to be true. Now here we have 2 options basically on this screen, or multiple options, but 2 to get back to the city. The Long Plains, which is the safe way, and the ruins. The ruins are only there to kill you. There's no reason to go there, never go there, you only die. So only take the Long Plains. When you go there, there's like a mist that lets you forget what your quest is, and you just sit down and the game is over. So the ruins, there's nothing to get, there's nothing to gain from clicking that one except for a nice death sequence, but we are trying to go through this as fast as possible. So, South Gate,
Sounds like there's no one left in the city.
back to the city, because we are now ready to join the army. So, let's go in. Actually, that was stupid. We could have skipped... Oh, the old man is not here. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we could have skipped the old man, this sequence, by just going to the town square directly, I think. Yeah, we can go to like this platform over here, just tells us, oh, there are no people here, where's everyone going? Well, they're at war, Lathan. They're at war in the north. And that's where we are going too.
Excuse me, I am Lathan Kandor, an apprentice wizard. How can I help?
We need warriors, not wizards, boy. Come along, Edmund.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we need warriors. Alright, so what we can do here, at one part I think Dallin tells us that the sword of the Arthur Kings or something, as this sword is called, and warriors respect it. So when you show the sword, they will accept us as a warrior.
My apologies, sir. Any man who wields the blood sword of the Argent Kings is fit for command. Join us!
Yes, we are now a commander because we have a sword. Well, that's nicey. So let's save right here, because we are ready to go to war and I don't want to redo it all. So let's move on. Let's go to the High Pass where the army is gathering. Alright, did you see that logo there? That's important. We need to remember that. Nobody tells you that that's important. And by the way, like this, like, yes sir, man, very funny voice acting. And I have honestly no idea what he was saying. Like, I can't understand his accent. So, now we have the chance to either take the eastern front or the western battle line. Both of them have a slightly different battle. I like to do this because you see a nice demon. When you go through the middle and you just get killed. So don't take that one. Alright, here's the demon. Remember what the princess told us? The demon hates the hunting horn. Now we have a few lizard demon men. Now look at their weapons. So do you remember what the Northmen told us? That against spears we should use a sword. Yes, that's the tip you get from that, but I mean it's pretty self-explanatory that when you go into battle that you want to use the sword. So I don't know if that really was a tip worth using a scroll of understanding for.
Can you stop the plague magician?
Can we stop the plague magician? Yes, because he's up there. We need this, the potion of flying. And fly after him. So, in order to get him off here, we need to smash it with the empty bottle. Now, we need to follow him. This battle with the Plague Magician is actually a huge payoff. If you played the first game, the Plague Magician was a character in that one. He just appeared and vanished and was never seen again. I think there was one scene. Now, let's see if this hurts us, because we fly through here. So, and they hit us. I'm not sure if in this version you get hurt from it. Yeah, the Plague Magician was a character, he just appeared and cursed you. Yes, we are hurt now. You see the black borders there. He appeared, he wanted to attack us, and then he vanished and he was never seen again. And in this game we get the big payoff for it. And what a payoff it is. Like I said, Kingdom the Far Reaches is a game that originally was released as Thayer's Quest in arcades and the Halcyon, which was a Laserdisc console. Now, remember the princess, use the crystal. And that was in 1984. And it never got a sequel because it never got a wide release because the Halcyon was cancelled. And later on, they re-released the game, added a few scenes, and released it as Kingdom the Far Reaches on CD consoles like the CDI and 3DO and PC. And later on, that version was a small success, and they used that to make a sequel to that new version. So Shadowan here is really a sequel to the re-release of Thayer's Quest.
How can I repay you?
If I succeed in my quest, the Far Reaches will need a just ruler. Will you accept that responsibility, Sir Delarice?
I will, Laban. Get the heater over here before he leaves, Edmund.
Yes, sir.
That's why the difference is so huge between the animation quality and art style. Like there was in 1996 is where this sequel came out. So 12 years after the original game, it finally got the, not even a sequel, like the second half of the game. So what we need to do right now to really move on, we need to go back to the city, because we need to get healed. We got hit by the daggers and we need to heal ourselves. And that's sadly one thing that this game does quite a lot, hurt you, and you need to get yourself healed at the Black Heath. So, down to the south. It always takes quite a few screens to go through the city. And as soon as we are healed, we are ready to go back to the well, go back to what I'm trying to say. Not even go back to, we go on to the final kingdom, Shadowan. I didn't know that you can go to the Black Heath from the plains. You can. It's a bit of a shortcut. So I always went through the forest and through the hanging tree to get here, but no. You can simply click on it from the long plains. Now what you never want to do is from the Black Heath go directly to the western gate of the city. Because as I said, Torlok has a trap for us set over there. He will tie us to a cart and let the cart fly away, and we just go into space afterwards. So we always take the detour over the long plains in order to arrive at the south gate and not to trigger that trap that was set for us.
Looks like there's no one left in the city.
Alright, now we are ready to go to the Kingdom of Shadowan, and that means we are practically like more or less halfway through, but it's more like 2/3 through the game. Yes, it's a very short game, like the first Thayer's quest, or the first Kingdom game, which is like under an hour in length. This one can be easily beaten in under an hour too. I'm not sure how long this video will be. I'm sure it's like around an hour. I think we're, I don't know, you see it in the final one. I stopped the recording. We're probably like 45 minutes in right now. So maybe a bit over an hour for this one. But it has a lot of going back and forth, especially in the second half. So it may take a bit longer. I think I've figured out the perfect route to save on traveling.
We'll take you back into Shadowan, sir. Sir Deloris ordered us to be your guide through High Pass.
Yes, because there's still a war going on a little bit. They will escort us through the battlefield to take us to Shadowan right away.
Seek passage to Fire Island, Lathan. It holds many secrets.
Seek passage to Fire Island. All right, we'll do that. And the way we do that, we go to the 2 roads. There are the petrified trees over here. I don't think there's any reason for that. It just tells us like be aware of the fire demon or something. And I'm not sure what that means actually. So we go, actually, can we? Yes, we can even go from the screen. We don't even have to go to the menu.
There's no way to reach that cave.
There's no way to reach that cave. Oh, there's one thing. I don't know where he tells you. Dallin just appears at one point. So I think when we reloaded and traveled through a few screens, it would tell us through use the Scroll of Traveling to reach the cave. Now, what we can do is use the Scroll of Traveling here to reach the cave, which is all the way up here somewhere. So it's not even on the map really on this one. Now, in the PC and DVD versions, there seems to be a way to go to the pirates as well, from way over here, from these cliffs. However, in the CDI version, that doesn't seem to be the case. So we want to go to these in order to get to the pirate ship. It's not accessible from anywhere on the map. We cannot click on this. Now, what we need to do is use the Scroll of Traveling and go to the Pirate Cove. So we need the Scroll of Traveling twice for this one. All right, and the disk has crashed again, so let's restart again. It's a bit annoying, but I'll see you after I defeated the army again. Turns out I already saved on this screen. Good one. I thought along and didn't have to redo too many things. So I just restarted the game, so we could have just done that. So let's go to the Pirate Cove and hope the game doesn't crash again. No. It's actually last time, my last 2 playthroughs, I did it 2 times. This is my 3rd playthrough now.
Passage to the island of the fire god. I can pay you. What you got?
I had a crash in each one. This is the first one where I had 2 crashes. Now, what he needs, we don't have. So none of our items will do anything. He will just tell us that he doesn't need that.
Don't need that.
And the next one, he just tells her, don't need that either. So he has a very cool accent, yeah? What's actually funny is in the PC and DVD versions, he has a different voice.
Those must be the black swans.
Those must be the black swans. Now, remember what the runes told us. We need to see the true nature of the swans. So, scroll of seeing it is.
They've turned into boats.
They've turned into boats. Okay, then. Let's take the swan boats. So I think this is the ideal route. You don't want to go to the dragon, so to the cave right away, because then you have to take an extra route down to the far reaches again to get healed. So we take this one.
The Moonstone Amulet reveals the glass bridge across the abyss of time.
The Moonstone Amulet. Bridge across the rift of time. The names for these, like this game, like the plan was for the first one to have a Lord of the Rings inspired world to go through, and at least with the names they really got this one. Otherwise it feels more like a Saturday morning cartoon. Now what we are doing here is the Grotto of Dreams, because there's a very nice book.
This is the Grotto of Dreams that Dalon told me of. He said Mobus created it, but it's Torlok's now.
Now what's confusing about this, we need to click on this and read the book multiple times to get all the information. I think otherwise we cannot trigger some of the later events.
The Shield of Falworth can protect its user from aggressive magic. Falworth died trying to slay the dragon Rohan.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think this route makes any difference now.
An Argent King used a magical dagger to defeat a servant of Torlok. They fought in the woodcutter's hut.
Alright, so you remember Woodcutter's Hut, and there was a huge storm, a huge spell around it. So we need a shield to go through, and in there should be the dagger. Alright, we got that information.
The 5 relics can only be rejoined in the tower. The Fire God knows in what sequence they must be assembled.
Okay, the Fire God. So we need to ask the Fire God somewhere. Something with fire. Alright, we know that one.
In the Temple of the Fire God, all is not as it seems. To find the treasure, one must see beyond the fire.
Alright, see beyond the fire. We have scrolls of seeing, so that's an easy one to figure out.
Mobus sealed his castle to keep Torlok out. The Onyx Seal will reveal the entrance to the castle.
Okay, we want to go into the castle. We need the Onyx Seal to see it. So this book just gives us hints for the rest of the game.
The Abyss of Time is protected by 2 guardians. One must see through the false guardian to pass him.
Okay, see through the false guardian. Again, use the scroll of seeing. So all of these riddles, they're easy to figure out. You can easily finish this game
The Room of Mirrors
on your
holds a
own
secret.
without a guide.
What was that? The secret to the tower, but only an Argent King can discover it. Hey!
Whereas the first one really was tricky at times. The first one, I think at some point you really needed a guide. Whereas this one is relatively easy to figure out. Like using the scroll of traveling to go to the Pirate's Cove as well. You can figure that out because Dalon tells us that we need the scroll of traveling to go to the Dragon's Cave. And from this screen we can go to both locations. And I actually figured that out myself as well. So I actually got way until the end of the game where I got stuck because I didn't really know about the health system, and none of the guides helped me because it didn't seem to be a problem in the PC and DVD versions of the game, only in the CDI versions, which is why I'm doing this video, by the way. Like, I said, okay, I'll do a video guide because there's no guide for the CDI version. And apparently the person on Discord I talked to, he said, oh, he had also a similar problem with, I think, 7th Guest on the CDI. Apparently one of the later mazes has a different layout from the PC or other versions. So if he needed help with that and there was no guide for the CDI version, he needed to figure all of that out himself. So having one of these video walkthroughs on YouTube is quite helpful, I think. So that's why I'm doing it. I also did that back then when we want to go over here. When I did it for the 3DO version of Kingdom the Far Reaches, there was only, ironically, a video guide of the CDI version, which was helpful. And I don't think there were too many differences between them in the end. But I still wanted to show the 3DO version because, well, it looks different. It has a different layout overall. By the way, the video quality in this one is actually really, really good because this game requires the FMV card. So some of the CDI games require the FMV video card add-on, and this is one of them. So you can only play that when either your CDI has it already built in, like mine, or you have one of the other models with the add-on for it. You can buy it separately and plug it in. So it should be compatible with all CDI versions.
Is yet strong and can heal you.
Daylon, wait.
But you need the video card. And I'm not sure if it's the same case with Kingdom the Far Reaches. I would guess so, which is why I want to get my hands on... Oh no, don't take that route. So we went to the Black Heath and now we are healed again. When we look at our menu right now, the edges will no longer be red. So actually I want to get the CDI version of Kingdom the Far Reaches because I would assume it has better video quality than the 3DO version, because first of all, the 3DO version doesn't require the video card. There is a video card for the 3DO, but it's not required for any of the games as far as I know, only for video CDs. And it's not required for Kingdom the Far Reaches either. And also, something many people don't know, the CDI natively outputs in 480i, so higher resolution than the 240p that's standard in most game consoles back then. And the 3DO also outputs in 480i, however it internally renders in 240p. So it just sends out a like muddier version of the internal signal for some reason. Some models have a 240p switch, and most of them can be modded for 240p. However, I don't have that mod. So the CDI version of Kingdom the Far Reaches should theoretically look better than the 3DO version. Now, would you really care that much? I mean, it's a game from like the Halcyon, like, and I don't think they remastered it from the original film. Like, the picture quality of Kingdom the Far Reaches is very, very bad in all versions. So I think they just took the Laserdisc masters from back then and digitized them, so basically made them look worse. And you had to re-encoded them into like the digital format and then put it onto a CD. So overall, the video quality of it is really, really bad. So because this one was made natively for CD consoles, we have a better picture quality overall. It looks fantastic on the CDI, even through composite. Like I said, I don't even have an RGB compatible CDI. So here we need the Scroll of Traveling once again to go to the cave, Rohan's cave. Rohan is the dragon residing within.
Relics minions have scared away much of my game, but you will not be my dinner if you choose the Shield of Followers.
Alright, remember the shield we had last time? Like, choose the one that was on... That was on the like flag earlier on. The game doesn't tell you that, it just like basically you have to remember what it is, like from memory without preparation. The game has a few things, a few areas like that where it shows you something and requires you to remember it later on. So in general it's not a big problem, but you should take notes for this. So, because we have the scroll of traveling, we are hurt again. As Dallin says, when we use the scroll of traveling, we get hurt and we cannot use it again. So, because then we would die. So, now we have the shield, which means we are returning back down to the far reaches. And we're getting the dagger. Yes, as soon as you enter Shadowan, Dallin will no longer be able to communicate with you, and he will not give you tips anymore. So basically, as soon as you enter Shadowan, you are on your own. Alright, so we need to get down, because you remember, like the woodcutter's hut, and now that we have the shield, you can go through the, or get through the evil spell. And also we need something to pay the pirate captain with. Now, if only someone in this game knew like all the dirty secrets, and if only there was like a tavern or an inn where all the knowledgeable people gather, and if only there was a person who was kind of indebted to us for helping him out. So if only that existed, right? Yeah, so it's the locations are pretty limited in this game. And like I said, it's quite easy to figure out. You don't need a guide except for a few parts of the game that are tricky to figure out on your own.
The long plains.
And even those are possible. Like I said, there's no guide for a later part in the game, and I still made it work. Let's not go there, otherwise the game may crash again. So yeah, let's start at the inn. And get some information. Over there to the inn. And I really loved this game. When I got my 3DO, Kingdom the Far Reaches was actually one of the games that was included in a lot. And I mean, I'm a fan of animation, so I tried it out, and I like adventure games. So I tried it out, and I like totally fell in love with it, and I loved it. And I wanted to play the sequel, but it's not on 3DO.
Welcome back, wizard. Listen, that sword you got is good for cutting flesh, but if you want to cut through iron, you need the dagger of iron.
Oh yeah, so we can't go here yet. So I forgot we need to go another route. So he tells us about the dagger, not about the information we want to have. So we need to get the dagger first.
I'd leave you if I were you.
Yeah. So I wanted to play the sequel, or the second half of the game, but it's not out on 3DO. The only system that has both games is the PC and DVD. So they made DVD menu versions of both games that actually seem to work pretty well. There's gameplay of both, and like it seems to work pretty well. And I was actually personally working on a DVD game project in the past that basically followed the same route as these games. And I tell you, it takes a ton of work to make that work, because DVD menu is so limited, so extremely limited in what it can do. And you basically have to do multiple like routes, and you have to recreate the game multiple times for all the choices you have to make. So either they have some incredible wizardry that I didn't have when I made my DVD game, which was never finished. I have a buggy beta version of it somewhere, but of basically the like test version I made. Maybe I want to show that one day. Tell me in the comments if you're interested in that. Sadly, you cannot finish that part of the demo I made because it's buggy, and I don't think I have the finished version anywhere anymore. So this one, oh, I made a mistake. So we need to quickly go to the shield. Go over here. Yes. Did we do it in time? Yes. Amazing. Like I said, better like pick out the items you need for this part of the game later on. So now we can go into the hut.
The dagger.
There's the dagger. Let's take it. It's stuck in the skeleton, which I don't think makes much sense. It would have fallen down. For some reason, the audio in that part is very, very loud. So now we can go to the Black Heath. And now that we have the dagger, the person in the inn should tell us new things.
Here in the Black Heath, the magic of the Argent.
So this game, together with Kingdom the Far Reaches, actually the DVD version was based on Thayer's quest, not the new version. Which is really, like, weird, because like this is clearly a sequel to the new version, but the DVD version uses the original audio and voice acting of the Halcyon version, and it just doesn't connect. I'm not sure why they used the Halcyon version as a basis for it. You can also look like the original Laserdisc game. There seems to be a version where you can connect the Amiga or Atari ST to a Laserdisc player and play the game. So you can actually play the actual Thayer's quest. It's pretty pricey, like the Laserdisc itself for the game, for Thayer's quest, costs like 200 to 300 euros on eBay. It's readily available. It doesn't seem to be that rare, but probably because nobody wants it. But it's expensive to get, and of course you need a Laserdisc player. You need the computer like the Atari ST or Amiga, and I'm sure like the connection cable between a Laserdisc player and the Atari ST is like impossible to get. I'm not into computers too much, so I'm a console guy. That's why I'm playing the CDI.
Wizard, listen, Pirate Lemmy lost his favorite mug in here a few nights ago. Tore up the place. The innkeeper took it.
Alright, so Pirate Lemmy lost his favorite mug here. So maybe that would be sufficient as payment for him to take us across the ocean.
Soon this land will belong to Dorlar.
Well, it will if people like you refuse to stand up against him.
So you can play the original Thayer's Quest version of the first game. However, of this game there is no Thayer's Quest 2. For Shadowan, it's only a sequel to the re-release that they made.
This must be Captain Lemmy's mug. Maybe I can return it to him.
Which is pretty weird. However, I would have kind of liked to see a proper sequel in the old graphics as well. I'm not sure if it was really planned to make 2 games out of it. It was probably limited by the Laserdisc capacity, because for the version of the game they made, where you can choose between the things and to still frames and all of that, you needed to use the, the SP version of a Laserdisc, which only held 30 minutes of video per disc, or per side of the disc. So 1 hour of video in total. And maybe the entire game just didn't fit on a Laserdisc. So quite possibly they simply split it in half because there was no room on the Laserdisc to go through all of it. So now we have the mug and we can pay the pirate Captain Lemmy for safe passage to the Fire Island. We need to go all the way up there again. If you really know what you're doing, you can go relatively quickly from one place to another. However, like if you're just trying things out, trying to solve puzzles, a traversal of the world, just like the first game, can be quite annoying because you have to re-watch all of the video sequences again. However, what this game, and the first one as well, does really well is it makes it all feel connected. So it doesn't just feel like you're picking from a place in a menu. It feels like you're actually traveling through the world, at least to me. And I really like that. I'm a big fan of this game. I would say it is a step back from the first one. So the first one is definitely better than this version. However, I say many people are disappointed with this follow-up. I say it is definitely a worthy sequel to Kingdom: The Far Reaches. Which as a name is actually pretty irritating, because the Far Reaches and Shadowan are the two kingdoms in this game. And I'm almost sure they called the first one the Far Reaches
Torlock's power is strong here. I can feel
to make
its
people
cold
believe it's a sequel to Thayer's quest. So it would have made sense to call it like Kingdom: The Beginning or something. But not the Far Reaches, because the Far Reaches are not even in the first game. You have 3 other kingdoms. The Far Reaches are in this one.
The island of the fire god. I can pay you.
Oh, what you got?
Alright, what you got? We got a mark for you. So let's go over here. CDI needs to load again. That's one of the problems on the CDI. Very frequent and annoying stuttering because of loading. But I think it's perfectly fine.
My never-empty mug. I thought I'd never see it again. We got a deal, kid.
Alright, now we have safe passage to Fire Island.
Which way, mate?
Which way? Well, we are on Fire Island now, and we are going to go through the entire island to see what secrets it houses. So let's save in case something happens. So first we need to go to the abandoned hut.
I wonder who lived here.
Oh, there's a monkey statue. Let's take it. And of course the monkeys are not really fond of us taking their statue king, and they're throwing coconuts, and if we are not careful, we are going to die. So let's use one of the chairs as protection to run away. Again, very off-model right here. Okay, we managed to run away, so let's go further away, the North Shore. And these are the transition areas where we are really just walking. Not a lot happens there. It makes the whole world feel connected. We are going on a small journey. We got a few things in the ocean, in the water. Oh, we have a pile of things. It's their clothing that we are going to steal right now. I'm sure they are not very happy about that. And the dialogue gets more limited in the later half of the game, so I have a lot more room to talk about things.
Find our way through them. There's just too many.
In the first half, there's a lot of people talking and people explaining. In the second half, it's a lot more puzzle heavy and exploration heavy. You're trying to figure out stuff for yourself. Now to get through, we have 2 options. We can use the monkey statue or the clothing. The clothing is the easier option. If you use the monkey statue, like the monkeys will attack and throw coconuts and attack the native people here, and we have a chance to escape through the attack. This is just easier. You put on the clothes and then you go through to the volcano.
Quick, mate, show us where the treasure is before we burn up in this heat.
Show us where the treasure is. Okay, so something I need to do. I need to take some notes right here. We need the scroll of seeing, of course. I need to get a notepad on my iPad here ready.
The lava isn't
To
We should jump from the altar on the left.
we should jump from the altar on the left. Again, this is randomized, like if it's on the left or on the right or maybe in the center. It's different every playthrough. Speaking of different every playthrough, oh right, we have the same problem again, that's not fun. I don't know what it is today. The disc is just not trying to cooperate. All right, I'll get it already. I'll see you again when we are there. All right, we are back. I have no idea what the problem is with the crashing. Maybe I need to clean my CDI disk drive or just clean the disk, or it needs some resurfacing. For some reason, it's a lot worse than it was during the last playthroughs I did.
Ah, the lava is an illusion. We should jump from the altar on the left.
Jump from the altar on the left. We will do that and hope the game doesn't crash again. Seems good so far. It's probably just some dirt or something, or maybe some problem, I'm not sure. It says it usually means the disk is dirty.
Come on in, Lemmy. It's nice and warm in here.
And the CDI is rather sensitive
We never would have found this place.
to like scratches or dirt. So the disk probably needs to get some resurfacing. Okay, here we need to note down the order. The horn, the orb, the mace, the crown, and the dagger. That's important later on. The game doesn't tell you that the order is important, and also that it's randomized every playthrough, so you need to figure that out yourself. And I'm not sure how they did it in the DVD version, because that would require a lot of work, so I would just assume it's standardized there. So, in order to cut through metal, we need the dagger of, what is arm or something? That's the hint we got for this from the innkeeper man. I don't think that's how gates work, like you cannot swim on them, so maybe don't try this at home. And that's really all we needed. Like the pirates are rich now, and we needed the information. Like the fire, it told you like the fire god knows the order the relics need to be put together in.
What's it like to be a pirate, Lathan?
Thanks, Captain, but Torlock needs to be stopped.
Torlock needs to be stopped indeed.
If anyone can stop him, it's you, mate.
Yes, for some reason they redubbed Lemmy in the other version, so I'm sorry, I'm not sure why. We should save now. You're supposed to remind me of saving, so we are not wasting so much time after a crash anymore. We have everything we need. We can go to the final area in the game and defeat Torlock now, and that is the plan. So we go back to the Skull Cliffs, and now we can venture north. We could have gone there, we could have gotten a few tips later on, actually a few false tips, like there's a person giving you false hints that will get you killed. So that is one of the riddles in the game. Going to the two roads, and then we go north to that city. And after that we are on our way to the final area. And the final showdown, 12 years in the making, and we are ready to finish the story of Kingdom.
All your problems are about to disappear.
Oh no, the city is disappearing and we are disappearing alongside it. Now, to break a spell, we have this orb right here. If we had gotten through the west attack lane during the war, we could have used this item to dispel another spell as well. But we didn't go that route. I could have showed you, actually, because I needed to restart the game, I think, around that point.
I wonder which one is the true guardian.
Alright, now, if we talk to this guy,
This is the abyss of time.
Once you cross, you cannot return.
that is true. So he gives us a few hints.
Yeah, better watch my step around here.
Actually, he doesn't give us any hints anymore. If we had talked to him earlier, he would have told us that we are safe inside the woodcutter's hut from the magic, which of course is not true. If we had gotten there without deflecting the spell first, we would have gotten killed. So let's use the Scroll of Seeing to see one of these two is the real one. So Scroll of Seeing, I think we need to talk to him again to be able to use it.
Stay inside the woodcutter's hut. It will protect you from the spells surrounding it.
So that is untrue. Like, you will die if you do that. Okay, now we can use the Scroll of Seeing, I think.
That one must be the true guardian.
Yes, the false guardian gave us false hope. And let's go to the real one now.
Can you help me?
From this side, the glass bridge is the only way to cross the abyss.
All right. Now, and if we go through, we cannot return, as we know. So at this point, you can make all the choices you need. We can return. The way to return is the Scroll of Traveling. However, we don't need to. We have all we need. However, we may need to redo it a couple of times because the time limit in the final area is super, super strict. Now, and this is the point in the game to which I got in my first playthrough. So to see the glass bridge, we need this thing, as the book told us. And this is where I got during my first playthrough. Now, if you want to go over this bridge in the CDI version, you cannot be hurt. You need to be healed. So your menu cannot be red. So if my theory is correct, we should be able to pass right now. Let's take the glass bridge and hope it works out. And we are getting attacked by a wolf. Okay, and if we were hurt, the wolf would just kill us. We wouldn't have the option to choose the dagger to attack. And the game doesn't tell you that. So you have to figure that out yourself. And it doesn't seem to be a problem in the PC or DVD version. So that's exclusive to the CDI version. Or maybe because you have 3 life points in those versions, it's just not as obvious. So, because we don't want to redo everything in case we die, because there will be a time limit as soon as we move on, we save right here. So, let's show the hidden door.
Spell is starting.
All right, let's be quick. Let's go through.
Gargoyles.
Many instant death traps in here, so you will, on your first attempt, probably redo this area multiple times. However, if we are quick about it, and you can't waste too much time, and you need to know the exact path, what to click on in what order to go through it. You need to go through the stairs first. Then you need to go to the crown room, which is not accessible if you don't click on the stairs first. So you cannot take a shortcut. So do not click on the crown directly or you will die. Smash it with the mace or the morning star. And now we have the final relic. We got the dagger in this game and we got the crown. So now we have all 5 relics. Now we return to the stairs, the curving stairs. There seem to be a few extra scenes here in the PC version, a few more angles and all of it. The CDI version is missing a few. Overall, there seem to be a few differences between the versions when it comes to animations and some scenes. Like there are a few areas cut. Like I said, Lemmy is completely redubbed in the other versions. On this version, I'm not sure which one came first. So to go through, they need to accept us as the king. So we need to put on the crown to show the hidden area. You got that hint somewhere. I don't remember who gave it to you or if I even got it in this playthrough, but we are making our way through. Through the tunnel we go. Actually, I said the scroll of release only solves like traps and all of that. And it separates what should not be bound together, as it says. So, and this elevator is stuck. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to know that, except for trial and error, that this is a stuck elevator, but use this spell of release to make it go up. And we are here in Torlock's chamber. This is the final area of the game. All right, I need to get my notes out now.
Foolish apprentice, you have found the relics for me, and now I will take them and bend the true magic to make my name more feared than ever my brother's was.
And I sure hope I noted down the correct order. So we are doing the horn, followed by the orb. By the way, you can move your cursor during the loading sequence. So, and now we do the crown. So you can get it into position a little bit, and the dagger is last. So you can get it into position to save a bit of time. I have lost on this screen one time because I wasn't fast enough in selecting it. The time spell is still ticking here. We assembled all the relics. And Torlock is defeated.
Where well the hand of Mobus, heir of the Argent Kings. Again, 5 joins shall be the kingdoms, and peace shall reign in the land. But guard this peace, High Ruler. You have defeated the greatest evil in this age of the world, but in the age to come, new evils may arise. You have grown powerful, Lathan Candor. Use your power wisely.
Well done, Apet. High Ruler, the kingdoms celebrate your victory.
We got a few video artifact things here.
Particularly would like to thank you, Lathan.
And of course we get the princess.
I have completed my quest, Grace. Torlock will plague the 5 kingdoms no more.
Such bravery and persistence never go unrewarded, my king.
And that's it. That's the end of the game. So what we can do is actually we can watch the credits somewhere. I'm not sure where it was, maybe on the main menu. But over here we have actually a guide to the game.
Shadowan, button 1 lets you select objects, paths, and destinations.
It just tells you the controls and all of that. But that's the end of the game. I'm not going to do like the credits now or anything. We can quit the game and it will put us back into... Oh no, when we quit it shows the credits. Okay, then let's watch it. So yeah, Rick Dyer was like the head of the whole project, and man, he finished it after 12 years and a failed console and lots of setbacks over the years, but he made it in the end, and they made a pretty good follow-up. Like I said, I like this game. It's not as great as the first one, I think, not as epic, not as like complex, but it's a nice follow-up, and I like it very much. I recommend playing it. I recommend playing Kingdom the Far Reaches. It still holds up today, and it's a lot of fun to play. It may not look like it, but trying to figure all of this out yourself, I mean, it's too late for you now. You watched until here. But yeah, I recommend. You can get both games on Good Old Games for next to nothing. Definitely don't make an illegal copy. You can pay up to $50,000 in fines. So thankfully, I have my legal copy right here. So definitely don't copy on this console that doesn't have copy protection, the CDI. Yeah, you're probably going to get the PC version anyway. You're probably not playing the CDI version. And if you are, I hope you enjoyed my little guide, and I hope I could clear up a few problems that you may have had in this version of the game that none of the guides tell you about, and that, I don't know, it's just are not well known on the internet. I'll edit all of this together. We will see what we are doing next. I still need to go into the Grand Chef video game I got. You saw in my last videos. So Grand Chef on the 3DO, one of the only 3 JRPGs on the system. I want to try to make my way through that. And also you see the Wii setup over there. I finally found my USB stick with all my games on it because of course I have a soft modded Wii now and to boot GameCube games, and I really want to try Metroid Prime, the original, because the remaster just came out and I want to see if I actually want to get it and if it's fun to play. So I'm playing the original to kind of trial and test the game. I've heard great things. I was never a big Metroid guy, but the remaster looks so well done, and of course it's a GameCube game, so my nostalgia, I'm too young to have grown up with the CDI. This is something I discovered later on, but yeah, the GameCube was my childhood console alongside the Master System, so maybe expect more on those 2 consoles in the future. There's also a video coming up. I was quite a bit into French entertainment over the last month, so look forward to that. I have 3 French television shows and movies I want to talk about, and 1 video game. So I didn't plan on doing a lot of French things, but that's definitely happening. So look forward to that if you're interested. Also, I got back into buying movies on Blu-ray after really only relying on streaming for a long time. I wanted to get back into physical media of a few movies I really wanted to get, and of a few movies that are just not available on streaming. Thank you very much for watching. I see you in the next video. Bye.